This is the brand new ZV-E10 II, and I've spent the last week going crazy shooting with this camera. Check out this cinematic video I shot if you haven't already, but this is an amazing camera. It has some similarities to some previous Sony cameras, so let's just chat the good, the bad, and get right into it. First of all, in terms of photo and video, this camera shares the same sensor as the A6700 and the FX30, so you're literally getting the exact same image. That means beautiful 26 megapixel photos, and also some amazing 4K 60 10-bit 422 video. The only noticeable software difference, I guess, is that there's no 4K 120, which is a bit of a letdown, but then again, I personally don't really shoot 4K 120 at all, because there's so many good software options that let you slow down your footage even further from 4K 60, so I tend to just forget that I even have 4K 120. So overall, in terms of photos and videos, you're not going to be disappointed. This thing produces some amazing images, and when compared to a camera like the A7C II, which is what I'm filming on, or the Sony ZV-E10, the main difference is that it can't really handle low light as well, because basically this is a crop sensor camera, and what that means is the video is going to be a little bit more noisy compared to something like the beautiful ZV-E10, and this has some incredible low light. The base ISO is 800 and 2500, whereas this is 12,800. So obviously there's going to be some low light differences. Once the sun sets, you're going to get some noisy video if you shoot at night in the city. You'll have to do some denoising, but that's a compromise you're making if you're going for the FX30 type sensor, which is in this thing as well. Other than that, you do get like one stop less of dynamic range, but you really can't tell when you're shooting S-Log3. And other than that low light situation which we mentioned, the photos and videos are outstanding and nothing to complain about, especially given the price. So now let's talk about ergonomics and usability. As you can see, this thing is absolutely tiny. It can fit into a lot of jacket pockets, and it's just really convenient to pull out and use wherever you want. It's fantastic for traveling. The body is super light as well. And now it's been refreshed with all these modern Sony menus, which is very usable and very helpful in my opinion. You can customize so many things. And it also has a slight new feature. When you actually turn the camera vertically, the menus turn vertically as well, which is a nice addition. So everything's basically the same in terms of software. It can support S-Log3 mode. It can also support LUTs that you can preview in camera, and these things just make shooting so easy. There is a slight lack of software when it comes to the AI tracking mode. You can track birds, but can't track anything other than that. But I personally find the AI tracking not that important. As long as it can track like an animal, which this thing can do, I'm perfectly fine with that. The new grip on the camera is now deeper, and it can support the normal ZF, whatever that battery is called, same as the A7C II, same as the ZV-E10. It all uses the same battery now, which is really convenient, and you can take more shots, which is great. So now let's talk stabilization, which is something that's extremely important to me. The lack of IBIS on this camera is a little bit disappointing. There is a substantial price cut with this camera, which we'll talk about later, but not having IBIS and just shooting handheld is very difficult. But you do have the fact that you can use 4K 60 and you slow down the video, put some stabilization on top of that, and then the videos look very nice. However, you don't always just want to shoot 4K 60 purely for stabilization. What if you want a normal speed shot that's not in slow motion? There is an active stabilization mode, however, it does crop in a decent amount. It works fairly well, but if you want like natural motion blur, you can see using the 180-degree shutter rule, it doesn't look great. You can see these micro blurs, which is not good. So you have to crank the shutter, and then it stabilizes quite well. If that bothers you, that's a bit of a, I guess, try-hard filmmaker consideration. If that does bother you, then that's probably not a good idea. You can rig this camera out, make it really heavy so it's more stable, but that's definitely a bit of a letdown, something you need to consider. This does beg a slight question that this is a crop sensor camera, and if you use the stabilization mode, which is 1.5 times, if you get like the widest lens, let's say 11mm, 10mm on the Sony APS-C sensors, that's going to be cropped to like 15mm in full frame, and then cropped another 1.5 times, which is like 22mm, so that's the widest stabilized shot you can get, which isn't that great if you really want to have a nice true wide vlog. Then again, that's a very small nitpick. I don't think people care that much in your vlog. It's more about the story more than anything. The new kit lens, in my opinion, is not crazy impressive. It is fairly cheap, like an extra 150 Australian dollars to get it. So if you don't have a lens, you might as well just get it. It's power zoom, which is nice, so you can zoom back and forth. And also, it gives you a good amount of reach. The aperture is sky high, which is again not ideal, but given $150, and if you don't have lots of glass sitting around, it's a great place to start and nothing wrong with that. It has OSS, which is good given that the body does not have IBIS, so you will get some more stable shots, and it's a good place to start. So let's quickly talk about price, and what's most appealing about the ZV-E10 series as a whole is that how cheap it actually is. In general, the ZV-E10 line is fairly cheap. In Australia, it's $1,850. I think it's a really good price in the US market. I'm not exactly sure how much that is, so just check that out. But this is the cheapest version of the FX30/A6700 sensor, and if you want to get your foot into that amazing image quality and really level up your videos, the 4K 60 10-bit will basically make your videos outstanding. This is the cheapest way you can get there. That being said, if there are like Sony a6700s for the same price, like $1,800, then you might as well just buy a a6700. Obviously, you could wait a little bit and this will get marked down like every other Sony camera, and then that will actually be truly the cheapest version of the sensor. So at the end of the day, this is going to be the cheapest retail price for this version of the sensor to get access to this amazing photo and video. So that's definitely a positive no matter how you see it. So now let's talk negatives, and this thing is missing a few things. Same as the old ZV-E10, no viewfinder, there's no mechanical shutter, there's no IBIS. I really wish there was some form of a mode dial, but that being said, you can use a few clicks and you can change the mode as you please. But in general, these are the corners we are used to being cut when it comes to the ZV-E10. But again, the biggest letdown is the IBIS. I won't ramble about that anymore. So overall, this is the ZV-E10 II. It is an amazing camera. If you want to go from your iPhone to any level of professional video or photo quality, this is a camera I would recommend. However, you need to check out how much the a6700 costs in comparison to this. If it's an extra like $100 or $200, I would probably just buy the a6700. But if this is like $300 cheaper and onwards, depending on your financial situation, the discount is probably going to be worth it. This camera is going to get cheaper and cheaper as time goes on. So regardless of what option you choose, you will not make a mistake buying this or the a6700. If you want a full frame camera, that's going to be an extra like $1,000. So the discount is very worth it. And you can look at my cinematic video. The video quality, you can't really tell this is an APS-C camera. That being said, I did use like G Masters to film this, so you need some expensive lenses, but you can get amazing results from this camera. That's it from me. I had a pleasure shooting with this camera, and I'll catch you in the next one.